I have a lawn mower in my shed that is 22 years old. It starts on the first pull, every time, and it has never once been rebuilt. Here is what nobody at the store will tell you. Almost every mower sold today is built to quit in about 4 years. But the one engine that runs damn near forever is sitting right there on the shelf next to it. Same brand, 3 different letters on the side. And most folks walk right past it. Want to know which 3 letters to look for? My name is Alex. Folks around here just call me Alex the Mower. I have been fixing small engines for close to 30 years. I started in a shop with a dirt floor and a coffee can full of bolts, and I have had my hands inside more mowers than I could ever count. Riding mowers, push mowers, zero turns. The cheap ones and the good ones. I have seen exactly what kills them, and today I am going to tell you. Let me start with a confession, because I did not always know this. When I was young and dumb, I bought mowers the way most people do. I walked into the big box store. I looked at the price tag. I looked at the horsepower number on the side. And I bought whatever was cheap and had a big number on it. I killed 3 mowers in about 6 years doing that. 3. I thought I was just unlucky. I thought that was normal. You buy a mower, you run it a few summers, it dies, you buy another one. Everybody around me did the same thing, so I figured that was just how it went. Then I went to work in the repair shop. And I started to notice something. The dead mowers on my bench were almost all the same kind of engine, same handful of models, over and over, rolling in on their last legs. And the old ones that came in at 15 and 20 years old, still running strong, those were almost all the same kind too. A different kind, not the same as the dead ones, not even close. It was not luck. It was never luck. It was one choice, made at the factory, before you ever bought the thing. Quick word before I go further. The things I have learned under these decks over 30 years, there is more of it than fits in any one video. I gathered the whole of it into a book you can buy in our pinned comment below. The book is the long version. If you want it, it is there. I will not mention it again. So here's the first thing you have to get straight. The mower is not the engine. Let me say that again because it is the whole game. When you buy a mower, you look at the deck, the wheels, the handle, the color, the brand painted on the side. None of that matters much. The deck is just a steel bowl with a spinning blade in it. Any deck will outlast you. The wheels are wheels. The part that lives or dies, the part that decides whether you are still mowing with this thing in 20 years or hauling it to the dump in 4, is the engine bolted on top. And even more than that, it is 2 little parts hidden inside that engine. 2 parts most people have never heard of in their lives. I am going to tell you exactly what those 2 parts are. I am going to tell you the 3 letters to look for and the 3 letters to run away from. I am going to tell you the one engine made in Japan that I would put up against anything on this earth for lasting forever. And I am going to show you how to get it for a few $100s, even if the mower sitting in your shed right now is already half dead. But first you have to understand why the cheap ones die. Because once you see it, you cannot unsee it. And you will never buy a throwaway mower again. So why does a brand new mower quit after 4 summers? Why does the same company sell one machine that dies fast and one that runs for decades? And why does the fellow at the store always point you toward the one that dies? Let me tell you what actually wears out in an engine. It is not the whole thing. It is 2 spots. Just 2. The first spot is the cylinder. That is the round hole the piston slides up and down inside, thousands of times a minute. Up and down, for years. Now, on a cheap engine, that hole is bare aluminum, just soft aluminum. And aluminum is soft. Over time, that piston scrubs the wall smooth and wide. The seal goes. You lose what we call compression. That is the squeeze that makes the engine run. Once the compression drops, she gets hard to start. She loses power, she burns oil, and one day, she just will not go. That is engine number 1, dead. Now here is the good one. On a commercial engine, they press a sleeve of cast iron into that hole. A liner. Iron, not aluminum. Iron is hard. That piston can slide up and down inside a cast iron sleeve for 3,000 hours and still hold its squeeze. That is why my 22-year-old mower still starts on the first pull. The bore has not worn. It cannot wear, not in one man's lifetime of mowing his own yard. Cast iron sleeve. Remember those words. The second spot is the camshaft. Now the camshaft is the little rod inside that opens and closes the valves at just the right time. It has to turn true, every single spin, for the whole life of the engine. And here is the dirty secret. On a cheap engine, that camshaft is made of plastic. They call it resin, but it is plastic. And plastic teeth strip. Plastic lobes wear down. I have opened up engines with barely a few hundred hours on them where the plastic cam was chewed to nothing. And once the cam goes, the valves do not open right, and that engine is done, not worth fixing. To the dump it goes. The good engine? Steel camshaft. Steel. It does not strip. It does not wear down. It just keeps turning, year after year after year. So there it is. 2 parts. Cast iron sleeve or bare aluminum. Steel cam or plastic cam. That one pair of choices, made at the factory before you ever laid eyes on the machine, decides everything. Steel and iron, live. Plastic and aluminum, die. It is that simple. Now let me show you the money side, because this is where it stings. A cheap store mower runs you around $400, and it dies in about 4 years. So over 20 years, you buy 5 of them. That is $2,000 and 5 dead mowers hauled to the landfill. A good commercial mower, the kind with the iron sleeve and the steel cam, runs you maybe $1,100, $1,200 once, and it runs the whole 20 years and then some. So which one is really the expensive one? The cheap one. The cheap one is the expensive one. It always was. Here's the part that ought to make you a little angry. The commercial engine is not some rare thing you have to hunt for. It is on the same shelf, or one aisle over. Landscapers buy them by the truckload. A landscaping crew runs that engine 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and gets 2,000, 3,000, 3,500 hours out of it before it even thinks about slowing down. Now think about your yard. You mow maybe once a week, half an hour, for about 6 months a year. That is around 15 hours a year, maybe 30 if you have a big lot. So a commercial engine that a pro wears out in 3,000 hours would take you 100 years to wear out. 100 years. In your backyard, that engine is basically immortal. So here's the truth that turns the whole thing upside down. It is not the horsepower. Forget the big number on the side. It is not even really the brand. It is the camshaft and the cylinder sleeve. 2 parts you cannot see from the parking lot, decided long before you pulled into it. And nobody at the store is going to walk you back to the right shelf and explain that. Because if your mower dies in 4 years, you come back and buy another one. That is not a conspiracy. That is just how the store makes its living. But now you know how to beat it. All right? So how do you actually find the good one? Let me walk you through it, step by step, the way I would if you were standing in my shop. Step 1. Read the tag, not the paint. Every single engine has a model number stamped on it. Look on the cover, the shroud, usually right up top near the pull cord or on the side. Ignore the color. Ignore the horsepower sticker. Ignore the brand on the deck. Find that model number and read it. That little string of letters and numbers tells you everything the salesman will not. Step 2, and this is the one to write down. The letter code. I'm going to keep this simple because it is simple. On a Honda engine, the letter tells you the whole story. If it says GC or GCV, that is the consumer engine. Aluminum bore, plastic cam, the throwaway. If it says GX or GXV, that is the commercial engine. Cast iron sleeve, steel cam, the one that lasts. So it comes down to one letter, C or X. I remember it like this. C is for cheap. X is for the one you want. On a walk-behind mower, the engine sits upright, so you are looking for the vertical shaft version, and that is the GXV. That right there is the gem, the Honda GXV. Made in Japan. Cast iron sleeve, steel cam, a ball-bearing crankshaft made of forged steel. Landscapers run them into the ground for years, and they just keep going. In your yard, it is the last mower engine you will ever buy. Now let me be straight with you, because I am not here to sell you on one badge. Honda is not the only one that got it right. Kawasaki makes a commercial engine, the FX series, and it is every bit as good. Cast iron liners, built to run 3,000 hours and more. If you are buying a used commercial rider and you see a Kawasaki FX on it, you grab it. That is the same league, no question. But the one you can walk in and buy brand new, off the shelf for a few $100s, and bolt onto almost anything with a blade under it, that is the Honda GX. That is why when folks ask me for the one, I say the Honda. It is the one you can actually get your hands on. Step 3. Do not trust the word commercial on the box. Anybody can print commercial on a box. Flip the machine over and read the engine tag yourself. On Honda, the true commercial walk behind is the HRC line. That is what the pros push. The HRX and the HRN are the home models, and those wear a GCV, the plastic cam engine. Nice mowers for a light user, but not the forever kind. The box will not tell you, the tag will. Step 4. Here's the secret the real mechanics use and nobody talks about. You do not have to buy a whole new mower to get the good engine. You can buy a brand new Honda GX Crate engine, straight from the factory, for somewhere around $350 to $450, and you can bolt it onto the deck you already own in one afternoon. It is a few bolts and a throttle cable, give or take. The deck is fine. The deck is always fine. You are just giving your old mower a heart that will not quit. A fresh GX on a 15-year-old deck will outrun a brand new $500 store mower by a decade. Easy. I have done it in my own shop more times than I can count, and the folks who let me do it never came back needing another mower. That is a repower, and it is the best-kept secret in the whole business. Nobody at the store is going to tell you that one either. Of course they are not. Step 5. Now let me tell you how to make it truly last, because even the best engine can be killed by neglect. And here's the surprise. The engine almost never dies on its own. The carburetor dies. And the carburetor dies from one thing. Ethanol. That 10% ethanol gas from the pump pulls in water and gums up the carburetor, especially when the mower sits all winter with fuel in it. So 2 rules. 1. Run ethanol-free gas if you can find it, or use a canned fuel like True Fuel for your small engines. 2. At the end of the season, either run the tank dry or pour in a fuel stabilizer. Do those 2 things. Change the oil about every 50 running hours, not once a season, 50 actual hours, and that GXV will start on the first pull long after you and I are both gray. So let me pull back now and show you why any of this matters, beyond just saving yourself a headache in the driveway. Start with the money, because it adds up quiet, but it adds up. The throwaway treadmill is real. $400, every 4 years, forever, plus your Saturday hauling the dead one to the dump. A commercial engine breaks that cycle clean. You buy it once. You run it until you are old and your grandkids are mowing with it. The money you were spending on your 4th and 5th and 6th mower, that just stays in your pocket now. Then there is the waste. You want to know something that ought to bother all of us? Millions of mowers get thrown out in this country every single year. Millions. Piled up, rusting, leaking a little oil and gas into the ground. And most of them did not die because somebody ran them into the dirt. Most of them died for one reason. A plastic camshaft that cost the factory a couple of dollars to save, and an aluminum bore they never bothered to sleeve. A few dollars, and a machine that could have run for decades goes to the scrap heap instead. The greenest mower in the world is not some fancy new battery thing they want to sell you either. It is the one you already own and never have to replace. Buy the iron and steel one once, and you take one machine out of that landfill pile for good. And then there is just the plain piece of it. You know the feeling. Spring comes, you pull the mower out, and you yank that cord 10, 12, 15 times, sweating and swearing in the driveway before it coughs to life. That is a dying engine talking to you. A good one, you walk up, one pull, she runs. Every time. That is worth something on a Saturday morning that no price tag really captures. Here is the thing I have learned after 30 years of this, and I will give it to you straight. A good mower does not wear out. It gets neglected to death. And a great one is built so that you can hardly kill it, even when you try. Most of the dead machines on my bench were not old. They were just built cheap and then forgotten. The engine never had a chance. And that man at the store, he is not lying to you. He is just selling what he was told to sell, and nobody trained him to walk you back to the commercial shelf and cost the store your next 4 mowers. That was never his job, so it has to be yours. You have to know, to look, and now you do. So here is what I want you to do tonight. Go out to your shed, find the engine on your mower, read the tag, get me that model number, the letters and the numbers, then come back and drop it in the comments below. GC or GX, C or X. Tell me exactly what is stamped on yours, and I will tell you right there what you are holding and how many years it has got left in it. I read everyone. I mean that. Next time, I am going to show you the 10-minute carburetor cleaning that brings a so-called dead mower back to life, with one $9 part you can get at any hardware store. It is the same fix I charge $90 for in the shop, and I am going to give it to you for free, start to finish. If you have got a mower that will not start sitting in the corner right now, do not you dare throw it out before you watch that one. Until then, read your tags, run the good fuel, and remember, they do not build them to last anymore. But if you know where to look, the ones that do are still right there on the shelf, waiting for somebody who knows better. Now you are that somebody.